Welcome back to Penetration Testing, a hands-on introduction to hacking. This is part 2 video of Windows XP. In this video, we're going to be installing the vulnerable applications that we'll be attacking and later chapters in the book. So let's get started. Alright, so one quick thing before we go and install the vulnerable software is I notice if we try to open up, say, Internet Explorer on our Windows XP machine, it's going to show that the internet doesn't work. We're not going to be able to get anywhere. It's because it's only going to HTTP. It's actually not running the TLS and the SSL right. It's not putting in the S for the encryption, and it's not loading any of the pages. So any of the new pages like Google and Facebook and so on aren't going to work with the new SSL. So what I had to do is find an old version of Firefox. I downloaded it on my host machine and I dragged it over to my my Windows XP machine here. So what I'll do is in the description of the video I will leave a link and I will set it up as a torrent so you can download it off me and install an older version of Firefox so that when we open our browser everything will work. So then in this case we can now go back to Google. Google will load, Facebook should load, and all that, and we shouldn't have a problem. So look for that in the video description of the link. So moving on, installing our vulnerable software, we're going to install Xampp 0.4, which is a web browser, and we can find that from exploit-db.com. And once we get to this website, we're going to go up to the top right hand corner and we're going to click search, and then we have to click I am not a robot and do these CAPTCHA things. These are super annoying, I find. Select all images with the cars, boof, 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 and then it refreshes, does some more, and verify. Perfect, we got the check mark. So we can type it in, Xampp 0.4. We'll click search. And we have three options here. So we can download the exploit code with the green arrows. The program is available under the A to download the actual vulnerable application. In this case is what we want, and the V with the check mark is it's a verified exploit. So let's go ahead, I'll click the first one and I will download the software. So we can click save file and it's going to go ahead and save it. And what I like to do to configure my Firefox is click options. I always like it to ask me where I want to save things. That way if I want to throw it on the desktop, it's a lot easier. So we can close this browser. We'll click start in this case. My documents and downloads are here. I did download it once before earlier. I can delete one. I'm just going to drag this off to my desktop so it's easier. I can get rid of these. Actually, I'll get rid of this. I'll save that file for downloading later. So we can extract this folder, and here it is. So we can go ahead and run that. We'll click run, and it's going to ask us what port. In the book it says 3232, and we want to accept directory listing, so we're going to hit Y, and we're going to hit OK. So now our web server is running. In that case, if you wanted to open up a browser, type in localhost or 127.0.0.1, which is our machine, colon 3232, which is the port our web server is running on, and we hit enter. Now we have a directory listing of everything. So my documents, downloads, that's where we put it. If I wanted to view the desktop, you can see that we have the folder here along with the Firefox installer. So we'd be able to view this away from the computer, if we're like any other website like Google and so on. So that's it for that application. Next we'll be installing SL Mail 5.5. So again, we're going to open up a browser and we're going to go right back to the exploit-db.com. I'm going to say search. We're going to do this capture again, or CAPTCHA, everything with a street sign. Next. Select all squares with a street sign again. Verify. Perfect. So SL Mail 5.5. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter for a search. And it looks like this is the one we'll be doing a buffer overflow on later. So we're going to download it again under the A listing here. We'll click the program, click Save File, and now we can actually select where we want to put it. So again, I'm going to put it to the desktop just to make life easy. I'm going to click Save, and now that that's done downloading, we can close the browser and we can install our program. So we'll double click the software package, and we're just going to be using the default options when prompted. So we're just going to click next for all the options, and we're not going to change anything. So next, yes, next, next again. We're going to keep going. Domain name, we're going to click next. NT system is porting your domain name as book XP. Your internet domain name must contain at least one dot, yada yada yada. Okay, so click next again, next, and we'll just keep going through this. We'll let it do its install. So once SL Mail is installed, we're going to have to restart the virtual machine, and then we're going to start and do some configuring of the mail server itself. So next, 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 next. Seems to be installing fairly quickly, which is nice. And then yes, I want to restart my computer now. So while Windows XP restarts, I'll be back shortly. Alright, so now that we've rebooted our virtual machine, we can click Start, All Programs, SL Products, and we're going to go down to SL Mail Configuration. We'll click that. So now that this pops up, we're going to right click in the box here, go New, User, and we're going to call it Georgia. Yeah, we're going to call it Georgia, sorry. And we're going to double click the icon. And we're going to keep the password the same as before, password. And we're going to keep the defaults and click OK. We'll click OK again, and we'll close that. The next thing we're going to be installing is the 3Com TFTP server 2.0.1. So again, we're going to be back to the exploit-database.com. We're going to click search, do the CAPTCHA once again, select all images with cars, verify, perfect. Then we'll type in 3Com TFTP, and we want version 2.0.1. Hit enter. And again, we're going to download the program here. Save file, click OK, I'm going to save it again to the desktop. And we can go ahead and close this. So then this is our TFTP. We can open this up. And it wants us to save the server file. So I'll copy that. Or actually, I'm going to copy these and move them all out of the zip file. I'll click OK. And I'm going to take the server one, which the book wants us to put in the C Windows file. So I'll cut, just open up anything here, and we're going to go C backslash, colon backslash Windows. We're going to say show content of this folder, and I'm just going to click anywhere in the box, right click again, and click paste. And once you reload it, it should sort itself out or auto arrange. So we'll click the X box or X button, and then so to open, we're going to be clicking this program here, and the install services as shown. So we'll install the services here. Services installed successfully. We'll click OK. From here we can click Start Services. Service starts successfully, and from here on out this will start automatically every time you boot up the computer. Next we'll be installing Xampp 1.7.2. Again, we'll be opening up a browser. This time we'll be installing this application from oldapps.com. And then we'll go directly to the download. So /xampp.php old _ xampp again equals 45 / and we'll hit enter. And from here we can download Xampp 1.7.2. So we'll go ahead, I'll click that where the disk is here, and download should load up. We're going to go ahead, click save file like we have been for everything. I'm going to save it to the desktop. I'm going to check, make sure that our download is complete. So it's 45 megs. That's done. And I'm going to click our installer, click run, and click install. So the default location or destination folder will be fine. When the installation is finished, we're going to choose option 1 to start Xampp control panel. So we'll give this 1 second here. Alright, so should I add a shortcut to the desktop? I'm going to hit enter, say yes. Should I proceed? Yes. You choose, should your drive letter, I'm just going to click enter again and, hit enter. And perfect, so press enter to continue. So we're right back here, and press enter again. And this is where we're going to hit option 1. We want to start Xampp control panel. I'll hit enter. And that's this guy down here. So we want to install Apache, MySQL, and Filezilla. So we'll click Apache, click OK to install. MySQL, we'll click OK again, and Filezilla. We don't need Mercury or Tomcat at this point. So we can click Start, Start, and there you go. As they install and everything, if everything's running well, it will be all in green. If you have any that are in red, if I'm correct, I don't know, this is an older version, then it's something that you have a problem with configuration. But for the most part, everything should run perfectly. At this point, we're going to configure a user for Filezilla, which is an FTP service. So we're going to go ahead and click Admin. We're going to click Edit, Users. And over here in the right hand corner, we're going to click Add. And again, we're going to put in the name Georgia. So we'll type that in. We'll click OK. We're going to check off password. And again, our password is just password. And we'll click OK. You need to share at least one directory to set it as a home directory. So in that case, we're going to click Add again. And we're going to navigate to our home folder. Under C, Documents and Setting, Georgia, we're going to click OK. Then we'll click OK again. And we've set up our user for Filezilla. We can go ahead and close this and the command prompt. Next, we're going to be installing an older version of Adobe Acrobat Reader, version 8.1.2 from oldapps.com as well. I should really just keep this browser open. It might make my life easy. oldapps.com, and sorry, we could go we can just make this easy. Go / Adobe _reader .php old _Adobe equals 17 / enter. And again, we are right to our download link, right where the floppy is. We're going to click Adobe Reader 8.1.2. Give it a second, it will pop up to save. We'll click Save File, and to the desktop again. Not a large file, so it downloads pretty quick, 22 megs. I'm just going to minimize the browser this time. And now that we have that, we can double click Adobe Reader. We'll click Run, and we'll let it install. We'll click Next, Install. Alright, so Adobe Reader is now installed. We'll click Finish. We'll go back to our browser, and now we're going to install War Ftp, but that's back at the exploitdatabase.com. Search. I'm not a robot. Street signs. There, verify, and we're going to look for War Ftp. Hit enter. No programs to download. So in that case, I'm just going to hit / exploits / 3570. Hit enter. Okay, here we are. So it looks like exploit code. we're going to go underneath the exploit. We're going to, or vulnerable app, sorry. We're going to click right here. We're going to save the file. Desktop. Now that that's downloaded, you can minimize our browser. We have our War Ftp installer here. We'll double click. We'll click run. And that will install the files needed. We'll click setup. Or sorry, unzip the files needed. We're just going to do the typical setup, the next, finished. Alright, so it's now installed. So we don't need to start it because we'll be dealing with it in chapter 16 through 19 when we discuss exploit development. So the next program to install will be WinSCP, and we can get that at winscp.net. Looks like it, go to the download page. Installation. So installation package is what we're going to be clicking. So then it should automatically start the download again. We'll save the file to the desktop. We'll let it download. And we have WinSCP here. We're going to double click our installer again. Run. We're going to accept. Typical installation. Next, install. And we open the get startup page. I don't need that. Well, we can launch it. We can click finish. And it's launched. So again, we'll use this later on. We can close that. We're going to go back to our browser. And next, we're going to be installing Immunity Debugger. This is going to help us with our exploit development. We will click download the latest Immunity Debugger, or you can actually just type this whole link into the browser up here as a URL. We can click that. We can just register. You don't have to put in anything correct. Bob, say I live in Canada. My email address, company, and we'll click download. We can click save file, and we'll save it to the desktop as well. Alright, it looks like our download is complete. And go ahead and close the browser, and we have the Immunity Debugger installer. Again, double click, run. And do you want to install Python? So we're going to say yes, we do. We're going to accept the license and agreement. Next, install. Once we close the installer, it's going to go ahead and open and install Python. So again, we can install it for all users. Next. And it won't take long to install Python. It's fairly quick. And finished. So now we're going to go ahead and download a program written in Python called Mona. So we'll go ahead and open up a browser again, and we'll download it from GitHub. So github.com/corlan/Mona, and we'll hit enter. Now, if you have the basic version of Firefox that we installed at the very beginning, you're going to have a yellow bar across the top that says that GitHub no longer supports older versions of Firefox. If you click Help and About Firefox, right here where it says Firefox is up to date, it's going to be downloading a bunch of updates. So it's going to download one, and it's going to say, click here to close Firefox to do the update. It's going to close, and it's going to reopen exactly to this page. It's going to download more updates. It's going to do it about 3 or 4 times. And if you don't wait for the update, this green little button here that says clone or download, it's not going to work. You're going to click it, and it's just going to be blank. So wait until your Firefox updates that, or go back to the host computer that you're running your VM on, go to this website, download the zip file, and then just drag it over to the Windows XP machine. That's another simple, easy method of doing it. So I'm going to click download zip, click OK. Another thing to save to the desktop. I can close the browser again. We're going to open this, and Mona is what we want. So we want to put it in the Immunity Debugger's py command folder. So I'm going to go ahead and click Cut. I'm going to click onto My Computers, or My Computer. C, Program Files. I'm going to click to Show Content. And then I have Immunity.Incorporated, Immunity Debugger, and py commands. And I'm going to paste that into here, and I'm going to go ahead and close these. You can even delete the zip now, because the other files are just a bunch of junk. And we're going to open Immunity Debugger, and in the command prompt, which is this white bar down here, we're going to type in !Mona space config -set working folder C : /logs %p, and this command is going to tell Mona to log its outputs to the C directory logs folder with the name, with the program name. So where the program name is the program that Immunity Debugger is currently debugging. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter. And now that's taken place. So everything is good, and we can now go ahead and close Immunity Debugger. So that's everything covering setting up our Windows XP machine. In the next video, we'll be setting up Ubuntu, and then on to Windows 7. Another thing I would like to do at this point is, now that we've spent all the time to configure our virtual machine, is let's take a snapshot. So a snapshot is going to be, it's going to take a shot, it's going to save the state of our virtual machine. So if, say, the next step, we go to install something or configure something and it totally wrecks the system, we can revert back to a snapshot. And then it's almost like, what do you call that in Windows, where you can go back to a restore point. Once you've installed something and it totally messes something up. So I'll name it XP configured Chapter 1. So you can just the description: installed all apps for pen test book series. And we'll click take a snapshot, and just like that, it's done. If you right click up here again and you go to snapshots, you can go to Snapshot Manager, and it will show you once you take another one and another one and another one, and so on. There's a little bit more to it, but I'm not going to go into detail. We can also, if you'd like to, we can clone a machine, but that's going to take up a little bit more space on your system. It's going to be an exact copy of the Windows XP virtual machine, and I'll show you how to do that maybe in a later video. Well, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. We're almost done setting up our virtual machines, our lab, and then we're going to get into the fun stuff in Chapter 2.